guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. I didn't really feel like doing makeup today, so I have some blush on and I did my eyebrows and that's pretty much it. So this is what you guys get today. Also, I got my nails done and they are super pretty. I did the cat eye like trend that's going around right now and they're really, really fun, and that's all I have to ramble about. So other than the fact that it's minus 40 where I live right now, I'm doing good. So I'm gonna be reading a no sleep story. This is from the Reddit author Bad Andy the Red, and it's titled, "Every night my entire town locks down for 12 minutes, and I finally learned why." You know the kind of town where everyone knows everyone, or the local diner serves coffee in mugs stamped with your name and everyone will lend a hand to a neighbor in need? A place where generations of families grew up together? Well, that's the sort of place that I live. Sure, it is a bit rustic. Hell, I barely have a reliable internet. But it is nice enough for us. It's the kind of place where time feels like it's standing still, except for one thing. The night is a little different here. I lived here all of my life and there's no place I'd rather be. Or at least, that's what I used to think. This place has its quirks, like any small town, but there's a big one that stands out for us. You see, every night, without fail, at 11:38 p.m., the town locks down. I'm not talking about just closing up shops and less people being out and about. I'm talking about a real lockdown. Doors slam shut and are barred, windows rattle and lock, and everyone knows that they have to be inside and stay inside, or least for what happens next. The next part is strange. No one ever sees anything moving out there directly, but we all just know. We just know that somehow something outside is trying to get in. An eerie silence falls over the streets. It's like the whole town is holding its breath. Then in 12 minutes exactly, it's just over. I've always wondered why it happens at exactly 11:38 p.m. People here don't talk about it much, but when they do, they whisper. They say it's just the way things are, that it's been happening for as long as anyone can remember. But I know better. I've seen it. Whatever it is. The first time I noticed it, I was still pretty young. I think I was about 11. I'd stay up late reading some of my favorite comic books. My parents warned me, like many other kids in town, that we had to get to bed early. But if we did get up, then absolutely no leaving the house or leaving any windows or doors open at all. I was not asleep, but was still following the rules when I heard the strangest sound. It was a low, guttural hum that seemed to vibrate through the walls. I looked out the window, and that's when I saw it. The streets were empty, but there was a presence. It's hard to describe. It wasn't a person or an animal per se. It was something else, something that didn't feel like it belonged. It moved with its strange, jerky motion, like it wasn't entirely in control of its own body. It radiated a disturbing sense of disorientation that made my head hurt and my eyes had a difficult time focusing on it. I could feel this overwhelming sense of hunger that made my skin crawl. Before I knew it, it was over. It had passed my house and I realized I had been staring at my window in a hypnotic daze. It was almost midnight and I went to sleep and I didn't dare tell my parents about the disturbing things that I had seen. I didn't see it again for years, but the feeling never left. Every night at 11:38 on the dot, when the town shuts down, I know it's there. We all try to act like it's not, just behave like we have a strict curfew and that nothing is really out there. Yet the people who are too bold or foolish and think it's nothing, well, they don't last long. Those of us who are still here know that whatever that thing is, it's out there. Stalking, hunting, looking for anything, an open window, or a cracked door. Disappearances are frequent, especially for a small town. The police have a whole song and dance for anyone who goes missing from the outside. But when it's a resident, well, it's more of a case where the families of the victims are reprimanded for not knowing better. No one knows why the window of time is so mercifully brief. Almost like as suddenly as it starts, it's over. By 11:50, the streets are quiet again, and the town feels normal. But it's not normal, and it never was. People have just learned to live with it. They lock their doors, shut their windows, and pretend it's not happening. I've asked my parents why we don't just move, but they never give me a good answer. All they say was, well, it wouldn't do any good. We have to endure it. It has to be here. It's safer for everyone if it's here. It didn't make any sense, and I know people can get attached to places, but it felt crazy to me. I couldn't just pretend that this was normal. Not after what I saw. Not after how I felt. There was something out there, and it was worse than anyone could ever believe. It was just recently that I saw it again. It was a normal night. at least as normal as nights could be in my town. I was getting ready to go to bed when I noticed that my cat Quincy was missing. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find him. Then I heard something and looked through the window to spot a familiar shape, and my heart sank. He was outside. He must have gotten out when I had come home earlier and was sauntering along the sidewalk, clueless to the impending doom. The time was 11:36 p.m. I had no idea if the creature did anything to animals, but I didn't want to find out. I had never let Quincy outside before, and he did not come to my shouted calls for his return. I had to do something dangerous and stupid to save him. So I rushed outside, sprinting towards him and trying to grab him and bring him in before it was too late. I managed to reach him and pick him up, but then I froze when I sensed a presence as I was scrambling back to my door. Quincy's ears folded back and he hissed. I felt paralyzed, and then I thought I saw it. It was different this time, larger and more overwhelming than before. Its presence seemed to fill the entire street, pressing against the houses like an unseen force. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I was frozen in place, my breath caught in my throat. To my horror, it seemed to finally regard me. Quincy jumped out of my hands and ran back into the house. He had fortunately invaded whatever interest the thing might have had with him. This creature's head twisted unnaturally in my direction, its distorted features coalescing into more recognizable shapes. Staring into this grotesque visage forced a scream out of me as I beheld this impossibility. I turned and I sprinted away, screaming like a maniac. My heart hammered against my ribcage with such force that each beat felt like it might crack my chest open. The sound of its pursuit echoed behind me. A wet slapping noise, gliding across the ground. Its deafening roar filled the air, shaking the ground beneath my feet as I ran for my life. I didn't know if I could get away. No one I knew had been outside and survived. I ducked into an alley, my hands shaking as I pressed myself against the wall. My breath came in short, sharp gasps, and I could feel sweat dripping down my face. I didn't dare look around the corner. I didn't dare move. And then I heard the harrowing screams. They silenced through the air, piercing a full terror. My heart raced as I strained to see who was making them, but all I could make out was their shadowy figures caught in the open. The screams were short, sharp, and then they were swallowed by the night. The deafening silence that followed only added to the fear weighing down on me. I stayed pressed against the wall, trying to make myself as small and invisible as possible. The darkness seemed to come alive with every creak and rustle, amplifying my fear. I held my breath until I heard the sound of the creature moving away. And then, just like that, it was gone. But the eerie stillness lingered, haunting me even after the clock struck 11:50. The streets were once again quiet, but my nerves were still on edge. I stumbled back to my house, every step feeling like a race against time. Quincy waited anxiously at the door and bolted inside with me, seeking shelter inside. The horrible night had left me shaken, but grateful to be alive. Whatever that thing is, it does not belong in this world. It's not of this time or place, and its presence is so unsettling it makes your mind ache just to catch a glimpse of it. No one can tell of its origin. Maybe they are lost in the depths of its history, but whatever its history, it remains. Always there, lurking in the shadows, every night, without fail. At that point, I did the one thing you probably think everyone should have done by now. I left my hometown. I moved to the largest city I could reach to get away from it. My parents didn't approve. In fact, they tried to tell me I couldn't go. I was so desperate to get out of there that I had to sneak away in the early morning when they wouldn't interfere. I never understood why we all stayed there and tried to ignore the eldritch nightmare that hunted us at night. It seemed so simple, and I felt better at first. The city felt alive with the hum of traffic and the distant chatter of people during the day. It made me feel safe and anonymous. Indeed, I thought I left the nightmare behind, that the creature was just a memory, a relic of the past that I could bury. My new apartment is a cozy studio on the 5th floor, with a view of the bustling streets below, high enough where looking out the window does not fill me with dread of the night. Unfortunately, something happened last night that has shattered the fragile illusion of my peaceful transition. On the first night in my new place, I sat on the edge of my bed, flipping through a magazine to distract myself from the creeping unease that had settled in the pit of my stomach. The clock on the nightstand read 11:28 p.m. I told myself I was just being paranoid, that the creature was gone, that I was safe. But the weight of the past lingered, a shadow in the corner of my mind that I just couldn't shake. By 11:38 p.m., the city outside my window was eerily quiet. The usual sounds of traffic and distant music had faded, replaced by an unsettling stillness. I tried to focus on the magazine, but my eyes kept drifting towards the window. the darkness beyond the glass pressing in on me, and then I heard it, a soft, tentative tap against the window pane. My heart skipped a beat, and I froze, the magazine slipping from my fingers and falling to the floor. The sound was light, but it still sent a chill coursing through my veins. I told myself it was nothing, I was just being paranoid. But then I heard it again. Another tap, this time more insistent. I didn't move, I didn't breathe. My eyes were fixed on the window. The darkness beyond it seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The tapping stopped, and for a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then a faint scratching sound like claws on glass, and my heart sank. I knew that sound. I knew what it meant. Slowly, my legs trembling beneath me, I rose from my bed and I approached the window. My hand reached for the curtain, hesitated, and then with a deep, shaking breath, I pulled it back. What I saw made me freeze in terror. The creature was perched on the fire escape outside my window, its twisted form silhouetted against the moonlit sky. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and its presence seemed to fill the room, pressing in on me with an unspeakable horror. I tried to scream, but the sound caught in my throat. The creature's head tilted to the side, its gaze locked on mine, and I felt a wave of dread wash over me. It was here. It had followed me. And then, as if in slow motion, the mouth opened, revealing rows of jagged teeth, and it let out a low, guttural growl. The sound shattered my paralysis that had held me in place. I stumbled back, my voice finally breaking free in a raw, terrified scream. The creature's form seemed to blur and shift, its presence filling the room with an unspeakable darkness. And then, everything went black. I regained consciousness, and I know it was not over. There was no escape from this thing that had followed me. I considered what my parents had said when I asked them why we had never just moved. Then, with dawning horror, I realized the truth of their words. It's safer for everyone if it's here. They did not mean it was safer for us. They meant it was safer for everyone else. They knew the danger. They stayed to keep it there. Now, in my ignorance, I have made a huge mistake. Somehow, it knew I moved. It had followed me here, to a place where over 1 million people will soon know about its existence, and maybe more if it moves beyond that. I am so sorry for bringing it here. I didn't mean to. Please, for your own safety, stay inside between 11:38 p.m. and 11:50. By now, it may not be safe wherever you are as well. And that's how the end of the story. That one was written really well. It was really fucking creepy. I loved it, but hated it at the same time, because now I'm gonna be terrified at like 11:30. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I'm gonna get eaten by something, even though I really don't go out of my house at that time. But if something was tapping on my window in the middle of the night and it was like this presence, this darkness presence that has like rows and rows and rows of teeth in its mouth and it's a monster, I would shit my pants. I have been watching way too much Supernatural lately. I need to like go watch a Disney movie or something tonight. I don't know. That freaking story scared the crap out of me. I read it yesterday at the gym on the treadmill and I was like, what the fuck am I reading? But I'm only gonna read one story in this video because we're already at the 16-minute mark, and this is just going to be a quick video today to just get back in the groove of things. I'm gonna be trying to post 2 videos a week. I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to post more, and I've just been honestly waiting for more stories from you guys and also waiting from authors to give me permission to read their stories. I do have to get permission before I can read any stories. So sometimes that's why I don't have anything to post, and I don't necessarily want to just shift my content to something else if I don't have stories at the time. Like, I have been interested in doing like review style videos again, and like quick little videos of being like a bubble bath that I'm really interested in, that I want to share with you guys, but I don't necessarily know how this audience would feel about that. So let me know in the comments down below. I did ask it in my last video if you guys would be interested in random videos here and there when I just need to post a video, when I just find a product that I really like and I want to share with you, or when I have a lull of stories. If you guys are interested in that type of content, please let me know in my comments down below and I'll definitely make those videos for you. But those are more or less just like filler videos when I'm waiting for authors' permissions. But other than that, this is where I'm going to end the video because I feel like this was a good enough story for one video. It could just be a one-off story because it was very long and really creepy. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys made it to the end of the video, please leave me a monster emoji in my comments down below. It lets me know that you made it to the end of the video. It also lets me know that you guys are actually listening to me when I'm talking to you, so you know what to comment. And honestly, it just helps with engagement. It helps promote my channel on the algorithm because YouTube doesn't like to promote me anymore for some reason. So if you could leave me a comment, like this video, and share it around to anyone you think would be interested, that would be really great. And I will try to post another video probably on Friday or Saturday, but don't hold me to that. I will try my best though. But I do have a couple videos here that I'm waiting on permission for. So if I get those approvals, I will definitely make videos for you guys. So I hope to see you guys in a couple days. Bye.